Hi, and welcome to Tibbir, the greatest stealth launch ever. This is a live episode, live stream, where we're going to be talking about Tibbir, all the amazing things that are happening in the Tibbir space. Altbra is here, and Altbra is the leader of the Tibbir community, pretty much. But before we get started, what I really want is to find out who you guys are, who's watching, where you're all watching from, and where in the world our viewers are coming from, because the Tibbir community, I think, is all over the world, and we have people in the Ribbit hole and in different places who are tweeting 24 hours a day. So I know for sure that there's people who are from all over the world. So if you are watching this right now, let me know where in the world you're from. Before we get started, why don't you tell me, Altbra, where in the world are you right now?
I'm currently in Bali. So we were in Singapore last week with the team, with the Altcoinist team, and we were on token conference. And mainly the reason we went there to meet our new business partners. Like there are several projects we are working together. For example, Virtuos and Definitive and Squid, SQDGN. Reserve protocol. So we have a few partners, and we, if you are familiar with, we started Base Trench Alliance, which is basically a movement to collaborate with different projects and to multiply our power and turn the trenches more profitable and like aggregating fragmented tools and bring something new to the market, trying to innovate something.
That's so cool. Yeah. So we're going to talk about more of that in a second, but we've got some of our viewers here. We've got Spenny, who's in Shaking In. We've got Excommunicado, who's in New York City. We've got Chad from the US. You, of course, are in Bali. We've got James, who's in Italy. We've got Michael in South Carolina. And Lystat is in Midlands, UK. And yeah, this is really cool. We've got people representing from all over the world. Lots and lots of Gribbits here from different people, which is awesome to see. Oh, we've got a PSR from Dubai, and a whole lot of people have already started joining the stream now. So it looks like we should be ready to go. So you're telling us about the base.
So one question to the audience. Do you hear this?
Yeah, we can hear the frogs in the background. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, so let's get started. And you just mentioned the Base Trench Alliance. Tell us a little bit about what that is, what Altcoinist is doing with the Base Trench Alliance.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to give a short intro about myself and how we basically started Altcoinist. So my name is Konstantin. I'm from Hungary, and my background is educational technology, and I had my first company and exited that after like being on the sidelines 4 years in crypto and just learning about it. And at some point I realized, I was in Bali actually, where I realized that there is no bigger opportunity than crypto. And I know that this is my passion. I want to like just fully embrace it. And then that was the point where I decided to go all in. And then I got introduced to Mate Tokai, who's the co-founder of Bitcoin.com and founder of Bitcoinist.com, two very strong crypto media companies. He's a crypto OG, been in the space since 2012. And basically Bitcoin.com onboarded like 40 million people to crypto. So they were really early. And we were thinking on like starting a company together, and I actually was harassing him to start something, and he said like, well, I have a domain name I bought in 2014 for $10 on GoDaddy, altcoinist.com. And I was already really altcoin degenerate, and I was like, okay, perfect. And then we started the company together. Then we got involved. One of our other Hungarian friends, he is an ETH core developer. So he was basically in the first core team of ETH. And he's the most ADHD person I ever known. So, but a giga brain for sure. So he was the third co-founder who joined, and then later on, my best friend Christian, who's currently our CEO, and Chad behind the company, who's like leading and building the company and the product part of the company, and me mainly My focus is on the brand. My focus is on, like being in alignment with the market. I think more crypto projects should have at least one person who's like really deep in the trenches, and so that you don't build something into the abyss. You have an idea what could be good, what could be bad, and then so we raised some funds. We started to build our presence on Twitter. We had a really unique presence because we are a project. However, we started to talk about other things which are interesting on the market, and like me personally, and I'm gonna touch this when we talk about like Micky Malka, who's the genius behind Tibbir and Ribbit Capital. He's really bullish on like having high conviction, and I think that's where we really found our voice in the space, where we were just like cutting out the noise, stop listening to experts, how they say it, and then just focusing on a few valuable projects. We talked a lot about Kaspa, for example, a fair launch. We talked about Tao, and there were a few other projects as well. But at some point we met Tibbir. But before that, how we met Tibbir, it's a funny lore. We actually spent 1 year on building a product which had no product market fit. So it was like we were like gated groups should make sense, because if you provide value, then you should earn a revenue. So it was like rather a creator monetization infrastructure, and then the first real community was born in that through that product, and it was RB3. Shout out to him. Really love that guy, and really proud of what he accomplished. I've been following him for like 6 months when he had like 300 followers. I was just like paying attention to how he basically nailed everything on base. He was like really up to date, and my journey in crypto started in 2017, and the strategy I did was like super weird. I registered to crypto Twitter and like started to follow like 5,000 people, and every single day I was just consuming information. Of course, there were trash and alpha as well, but I got really used to crypto Twitter, and I didn't create a single post for 4 years. Just watching, just observing and learning. Spent 1 year on understanding Bitcoin. What's the value proposition? It's really deep. So basically, it touches everything in our world: psychology, politics, money, technology. So it gave me a huge confidence in crypto, Bitcoin initially, and then I started to learn more about altcoins, especially utility plays. I sucked during the meme coin frenzy, so that was not my game. And we're really happy when virtuals came and then like basically brought this actually really cool teams, cool products, and also base was a really big turning point for us in a positive way, where on day 0 I told the team, like, guys, this is the ecosystem where you want to build, because there is the Coinbase roadmap, and it's a genius roadmap written in 2015, and it's still on track, like bringing 1 billion or more people on chain. So we started to build on base. We built our first product. We Trojan horsed RB3 to create a group. I was begging with Chris on a call, like, bro, please, I will subscribe. So let's just please start the group, because we fucking love you. And he was like, I don't know if I can provide enough value. And then on the first day, he basically shared Murad's wallet. So it was like 10 hours after I subscribed to his group on our product. He shared Murad's wallet, and that was the exact day, like 8 hours before he tweeted SPX. So it was like it went like 200x. That was his entry into this ecosystem, and then we paid attention in the next few months what's happening on our product. It was really clunky. The UX was not there, but this group was like really insane. Like they called everything, and they were like making so much money and gains and changing lives and everything that we were like, holy shit, Chris, we are just fucking building here, and then they are printing. maybe we do the wrong thing. And then Chris came up with the genius idea to basically build a trading bot, which aggregates this collective intelligence, where users can tap into that alpha, and that's how our first real product was born. And one day in January, Chiron, who's shout out to him, I think he's the best FA guy currently, one of the best fundamentals guy here and researcher, especially in our ecosystem. He basically shared Tibbir at 300K market cap. Now it's really funny because I was after a breakup, and I went on a date, and she was like she's tired, she want to go home. I was like, okay, let's go to a party. And I went to a party. I called one of our team members, who's a really young guy. He's a G, meme lord. Like, bro, just come in and like let's have a party. My friend is the DJ. Okay, he came, and then he was like basically in the sailboat cabal searching for alpha in the party, and he ate there Tibbir at like 300K, but I was just like having fun. And then the second day I was like I've seen crypto nodes tweet, and then my friend sent me like all this alpha about Tibbir, but that's where it clicked, when I've seen Micky Malka, Ribbit Capital, and then I started to research. I said, holy fucking shit. So that was a very big point where as soon as I connected the dots, and that's something I was thought to do due to my father, who's like a philosopher, and like we weren't well set financially, but he gave me so much knowledge and to this world, how to think critically and find patterns. So that serves me to this day. And then I connected the dots, and I calculated the risk reward here. So my reasoning was really simple. There are factual confirmations and data that this is tied to these people. So the first one was, of course, Micky's wallet funding the deployer contract of Tibbir. It's a fair launch, start launch project on virtuals. If you are not familiar, we will go really deep into this. But that was the first one. The second one is like at the first day, like all of the Ribbit Capital core members started to follow the X account. That's again all of these things. And the third thing was like Micky changing his profile picture to the stat launch of Tibbir. So you couldn't see the entire picture, but if you download it, you could clearly see that January 11th and Saturday. And I was like, okay, this is starting to get really crazy. And so you have all this data, and there are so much doubt. There was like the bot hallucinating, sharing weird things. I remember the chart dumping a lot when it said like it's not tied to Ribbit Capital. Then clearly people behind the terminal corrected the mistake, and then he started to confirm that it's tied to Ribbit Capital. But that was like the early days of Tibbir. And I think the smartest thing what I did and build the biggest leverage in this was like starting a community around this, because there were no official Telegram group, there were no anything. It was just like a contract and the bot on Twitter. So that's how, because I've seen a few really sharp guys talking about this, and I was like, okay, let's create a group. And that's how Ribbit Hole was born. It's not rabbit hole, it's Ribbit Hole, because we went deep in the Ribbit conspiracy and whatever you want to call it. And one of the core values I think this project has, I think the biggest thing is this community, because like these are people who took a really high risk. If you are not truly understanding if you cannot truly connect the dots, they took a really hard risk, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna bet on this shit. And then none of us is selling. So like these guys are like holding for months, whatever happened, market went shit. However, Tibbir magically outperformed, and then it started to get more real for the crowd that what the fuck is this coin reaching like 50 million market cap, 100 million market cap without a team, 200 million market cap. Now everyone is like, okay, at 300 million market cap, like it's probably real, and then but the whole journey was like so fulfilling, and it gave us so much joy that I also thought that the biggest thing and value we can give through our brand, through Altcoinist, where I put in so much work. Like I have like 40,000 tweets. So I'm the only guy who's tweeting on this account. Sometimes my friend tweeted me more, but that's it. And then we realized that, okay, we have our own product, we have our own token and everything, but to build what we want, it's gonna take time. So like the whole vision with this autonomous trenching, it's gonna take time. We're gonna need multiple partners. You cannot do it as a single project. There are multiple layers, and we got this Base Trench Alliance was like inspired by Micky and how Ribbit Capital is thinking about his like entire portfolio and journey and impact. So touching on that, Micky is a very, very unique person in crypto. He seeded this industry. We can clearly say that. So he's someone who bought Bitcoin at $9. At some point, they had like 4% of the total supply with Chamat. So
that's right.
That's really crazy. And then he was the one who helped Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, to open their first bank account in Silicon Valley. So it's a very unique stuff. And he also saved Robinhood. They were the first investors as well, but they saved Robinhood actually when there was the GMA saga. Micky basically, through all the connections he built in the banking industry and LPs and everything, he could save Robinhood with a phone call. And now it's a $100 billion company and potentially going to trillion. So I'm fairly convinced that like his top picks, his top investments, his top bets are going to reach trillions in market cap in the next 10 years. And the reason is simple, like everything is coming together in crypto, in this industry, this decade. So he also mentioned, Micky, that he's more excited about this following decade than the previous one. And this said by someone who built a fund from $100 million to $15 billion, seeded 33 unicorns, Revolut, Coinbase, Robinhood, early investors in Solana, Ethereum, all the neobanks, basically, Xapo, Nubank, those companies were early, and it's not easy to be right for this period of time. So the more I researched this guy, the more I started to understand how he thinks. For example, they gave back LP, the liquidity providers, money in 2020 something, because they haven't found really good bets. And that's something I also implement, and I've seen a great success in my trading or investing performance when I started to not buy things where I am not really convinced, or where I cannot build really high conviction. And that's how he basically built his fund. And I am really looking up to that guy. I never talked to Micky. That's another thing. Like people thought I'm some kind of an insider or whatever. I never talked to anyone from Ribbit Capital, and that's you can clearly see like who's under NDA. NDA is non-disclosure agreement, which means that if you build a project in stealth mode, you cannot talk about it. And so the people who are building it, they cannot talk about it. That's why you see like everything empty. Who I met in Singapore, not mentioning the ticker. So like he said, like the coin that must be not named. So it's clear that there is an NDA, and I fully get it, because what they are trying to build, based on our research, is something so revolutionary that the only way to do it is, first of all, having an empire and the decade of work behind you. So that's how the genius move was, like, from Ribbit Capital to build access to money, access to crypto, distribution. So like now they have a cumulative 700 to 800 million users globally. So their portfolio companies reached that many users, and now they invested in Telegram as well. We can see some kind of connections with OpenAI as well, and their goal is to reach like 2 billion users, or to reach 2 billion impacted lives with better financial services. And Micky was born in Venezuela. He's seen basically the hyperinflation, and that's also something I identified in him. Is like he's not here for the money. Of course, he's very rich. He's very successful in multiple domains in life, which is also, I think, really important. Like not only being rich or whatever or wealthy, but like having a family, having passion, interest in art, hobbies, whatever. So I think that's the real success in life, and he represents that. And yeah, I think Micky has done a really insane job, and now they are preparing for basically connecting all these companies together. So they've been laying out the foundation of a new layer of fintech, crypto, and the entire internet. So if you understand how AI agents gonna like fucking change the world and change everything, so labor, whatever, you can listen to experts. They say in 5 years 80% of the people will be jobless. So like could be today we could replace 60% of the workforce with the current AI stack we have. It's just the companies that they don't utilize it that if efficiently yet. So it's going to take some time. And Micky is well aware of this, and Ribbit Capital is well aware of this, and they basically front run this thing, and the work is like going on behind the scenes for multiple years. If you dig deep, starting with like the Ribbit identity letter shared in 2024. 22-page deep thesis on why identity is the next opportunity, which also makes a lot of sense. So like all the services, financial services will be commoditized at some point. The margin, what Murat said this, I look up to that guy as well. He's right on a lot of things. Like these things will be commoditized, and what's really gonna be valuable is like user data. And how you have user data, it's not it's also very important. Do you have, from a surveillance aspect, like CBDC, government control, or from a user controlled a solution where with ZK proof, where you basically own your own data and you decide where do you want to share that? Why it's really important? Because as soon as we have these data banks, or better say like digital backpack, then everything, every financial service will be personalized, fully personalized to you. And what Micky said, like last year, your Robinhood app is going to be different than mine. We are different age, different, I don't know, whatever, life situation, different needs, preferences. So that's why this decade, based on what they say, is going to be about context. So, and I wrote a few articles on this. The first one was like, who's Micky? And like the stealth rise of Tibbir, explaining this first decade of Ribbit Capital and like what's their plan. And then we got more and more clue about what they are building, but it's still just speculation because it's in stealth mode. But where it started to become more and more interesting is when there was a point where the bot just shut down and didn't share anything more. And but we were still grinding, spreading the word and everything. And then it just returned. It was the first AI agent that autonomously could buy a CryptoPunk to build its own identity. That was a big thing in I think in the mostly Vapor AI segment, because it's like so early. Like this first run up of virtuals was or like this AI meta, so many large projects, but there were like a few really solid teams. And then I think where we are heading in the cycle, we're gonna see a very, very big liquidity influx into these legitimate projects that have real product market fit. Projects that, for example, can farm yield for you, AI agents, and you don't have to do that. They are up 24/7 and optimizing, finding opportunities on the market, and stuff like that. So for Ribbit Capital, they are going to solve this identity opportunity or tap into this identity opportunity based on the tweets the Ribbit X account started to share when after it came back. It's clear that they figured out a new way for tokenization. So while the entire market is focusing on tokenized RWAs, I get it, big stuff. Okay, Robinhood, tokenized private equity, again, access to upside of the markets for the next generation. So like the new generation won't touch physical commodities. I think they shift to digital in everything, and so RWA is a big opportunity, of course, but they figured out that what if user data, what if user context, what if user intent could be tokenized as well? And that's how we are speculating on, or we were doing research on, what are the projects under Ribbit's umbrella that could play part in this vision. So, and there are multiple, like Privy for social wallets and everything, distribution projects like Telegram, whatever, Revolut. There's also some NDA at Revolut. So I watched a few, interviews and everything, and then they cannot talk about the most exciting thing, what they are doing. So it's something is going on there, and yeah, but the main project, the team, which has, I think, the holy grail to make this vision happen, is like Crossmint. I think that's what they are doing is fantastic. It makes a lot of sense. They are providing backend as a service, crypto backend as a service. So they believe that crypto belongs to the backend, which I fully agree. Like, I was there when DeFi started. I think you too, when it was like so fucking clunky. It's like only degenerates could find their way to like make some money or whatever. You couldn't show it to your grandmother or whatever. It was completely unusable. But through AI agents, it's getting more interesting, and also like abstracting the complexity of crypto to the backend, and that's what Crossmint is doing. And I haven't asked anything on the Crossmint meeting about Tibbir because I respect their NDA. I think they are under NDA because there were several moments when for example, the founder of Crossmint followed Ribbit on the same day as Micky in March. And then when Ribbit had a really strong first tweet after it started to tweet again, he quote retweeted it like, "This is the future. If you want to understand the next 3 to 5 years, just here is the alpha." And then he deleted the tweet. But we got it. So, and that's how Ribbit Hole is so powerful. And that's why I said it's like a big leverage, because you can find alpha alone. You can find opportunities on the market alone. But when there is like hundreds of people together on the same mission, it's just next level. So like the stuff these guys figured out, Tibbir Racer, Nulinker, everyone, like debunk it. I can mention a lot of chats in the Tibbir community. It's just unbelievable, and we were like labeled in crypto as the schizo frog community, because like 50% what we share is truly alpha with factual statements, like there is the on-chain transaction, there is the social followings. Ribbit has like 300 smart followers on Twitter. That's not by accident. Like big guys from TradFi, big guys from fintech, big guys from like X Grayscale, Rollpole, like now the NFT crowd, the top of NFT crowd, 6529, and all these guys are paying attention, Kadin and other guys, and there is a reason for that. I think that what's happening now is a big, huge information asymmetry, which is like shrinking a little bit as time goes by and like the project gets more and more viral, but it's still so fucking early that we had like 1.5 thousand total NFT mints, because there was a Soulbond NFT mint for the early holders of Tibbir. And that's again where you could see the name Crossmint. So the NFT was powered by Crossmint. So and that was the only company you could see in when interacting with the ecosystem, with the early days of the ecosystem. There's so much speculation what this NFT will be used for. Like there's like 5 Tibbir named legal entities and 5 with the SEC. You can check it on SEC site. And then like it potentially paves the way for even ETFs or whatever. And what I wanted to say, shit. Fuck. Yeah. So it's really deep, the rabbit hole, and yeah. I think I forgot the final part, which I wanted to add. Maybe later. So. Yeah, like Bob Lucas, Tibbir Hoarder, there are celebrities already. It's fun. It's really fun. If you go on Nansen, you will see a lot of interesting names. I don't want to dox anyone, so yeah.
Yeah. So let's actually take a few steps back, Alt-Bra, and go back to the beginning, right? Because right in the early days, one of the reasons why the token had risks involved was because of the culture of the trenches at the time. Like there were a few different kind of like test tokens and like people launching tokens and then kind of thinking, oh, I made a mistake and I didn't mean to do that. Were you worried about Micky doing something like that? Like, were you worried that Tibbir could be a test token? Because people still kind of say that now, right, as a joke, obviously now, but back then was it a legitimate fear for you? Like, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, so he even said, I have no idea at the end of the Rollpole Real Vision podcast, and then Roll said, I don't believe you for a second, and both were laughing really hard, and that was the end. And it's funny because this market is not for mid-curvers, so which means like there is like the two ends of the barbell, like the really dumb degenerate people and like the ultra high fucking high IQ people, and like this market is continuously rewarding these two sides of the bell curve, and it punishes the mid curve. And then I remember how many people were like waiting for confirmation. Good luck, bro. We are up 300x on our public wall, and they are still waiting for confirmation. So to touch on the point, what if Tibbir is a test token? So, and that's how I could be really confident in like sharing 20 tweets a day for 9 months on Tibbir, because I understand reputation and I understand the value of brand. How much fucking work is to build a good brand. We are small. We are really small. We are nothing compared to Ribbit Capital, but we still made a lot of effort to grow our brand. And Micky also highlights that in financial services, the only thing you do is build the brand, because everything else is commoditized. And then that's why they're different. Everyone who knows fintech, and you say Ribbit Capital, and they're, oh, okay, the elite. And that's lots of work to build. So in order for Tibbir to be a test token, basically with all these factual confirmations there, like the transactions, whatever, they would risk their reputation, they would risk their brand, they would risk $15 billion of assets under management, the empire they've built over the last 13 years, not 13 weeks or days, years. But yes, if one day Micky says like, I'm sorry guys, this was just a test token, basically no one will ever touch anything what they do in crypto. Maybe like VCs whatever will do, but it could make so much reputational damage that I figured that, okay, if they pull this, like if they do this, if it was a test token, and they are happy to risk their entire brand and name and reputation, we are happy to lose Altcoinist reputation as well. And that was like piggybacking on something that's much bigger than us. And I connected the dots. So it was a hedge, it was a hedge, their reputation. And then when you actually spend time and understand how they operate, because it was a big pattern interrupt. I get it. So I get all the crypto folks who never seen a stat launch, no idea about what the fucking stat launch is. By the way, it's something innovators do a lot. So especially in fintech, especially in the startup culture, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, it's a thing. So because if you build something that's gonna define the trend, then you don't want competitors, you don't want noise, you just want to build a perfect product. And so there were all these signs, and the conviction grew. And at this point, I see almost a zero chance that this is just for some fun. In fact, I think the genius thing what Micky did was. And here comes the value part. What are your values? He's not an extractive person. If you understand what he's done, I think he could have made so much more money if he were that extractive part of crypto, but he didn't. And he respects the culture of crypto, the OG ethos. He loves how CryptoPunk started. It was free to mint in like 8 years ago, and now it's like 300K a piece. He understands how it grew, emerged from the blockchain, and no PR, no press release. It's on his Twitter feed, and then when you understand this, you figure out that with this token, he wants to reignite the OG ethos of crypto. And this is not a new thing. He mentioned potentially launching a token in 2020 in an interview. So it was like in the works or in his brain for 5 years. And also, if you research the Tibbir legal entities, the first one was registered actually in 2012, when Ribbit Capital started by him. So probably an accident, like the token accidentally the same name as the 5 legal entities. One of them is holding. Now it's like $15 million of Robinhood shares. We are schizo speculating, and potentially the early adopters of Tibbir, the Soulbound NFT holders, gonna receive some tokenized airdrop of Hood shares, whatever. We just let Micky cook, so it's up to him what he wants. But the fact that this was a fair launch, it was not shared with his VC partners. It was so secretive. Only us, like a few degenerates, found it, who were like really logged in the trenches. And then basically with this 9 months, he rinsed the people with low conviction and gathered a really strong community. So if you go on Nansen, we are the most delusional holders ever. Out of all crypto, like the top 100 holders of Tibbir, they are like not fucking selling. There are, of course, scalpers, whales who like enter, exit, whatever. They 10 out of 10, I think, regret selling at any point.
Yep.
And the chart reflects this fair launch. The chart reflects the conviction, and I think Micky wanted to replicate the core attribute what made him so successful, conviction, in this go-to-market strategy. So and that's why there is no paid KOS. They were all silent. It's so funny. This stat launch caught them off guard, and we were the only one larger accounts talking about it for a few months, and then slowly people started to like ungrow their pussies and started to tweet about it when it was too risky not to talk about it. But it's still very, very low in mind share, very less talked about larger players. But the ones who are talking about it, I respect them a lot because, for example, Moonshot Josh, he shared Kaspa at like 2 million market cap. That was his last high conviction peak. Dread Bongo, without him, I think Tao wouldn't be there where it is currently. He shared it with deep thesis and follow up with the call from $8. Gam Chain, and there are other people as well joining the Ribbit hold. So it forged a unique community, a unique holder base, and the frog sound is over. So it forged a really strong community, and at the end of the day, Micky understood that the only way to build something great in crypto is like having this delusional cult-like core community. So, and to create a wealth effect for these people. So all the large caps like Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, these made people rich for the early investors, and then now no one can shake them out, and they are like delusional believers, and then look at the market caps like 550 billion, 500 billion, 180 billion. So it tells you a lot about what's the potential. And there are people like bashing the token, like low liquidity, whatever. It's like a LARP thing or whatever. Once it emerges from stealth, and I think it will, or it should soon, because there is the account automating the Ribbita agent. It's Ribbita 2025 and not 2026, 27. And that account follows like multiple tier 1 exchanges, and then to me it's obvious when it emerges from stealth, it's gonna be the main event of this cycle, and it's gonna get listed. Like how difficult it is to achieve a Coinbase listing or a Robinhood listing if you were the seed investor of these companies. It's like one phone call. I think they are eager to list Tibbir. So and that's lovely. I love everything around Tibbir, the lore, the journey, the stat launch, like gathering the real guys of crypto and re-establishing the OG values, and like not having this extractive trajectory which we've seen over the past 1 and 2 years. Fucking celebrity coins, rock pools, whatever. It was really tough to just fucking sit and wait until something better happens. And that's, I think, without a doubt, it's Tibbir. And I think the moment when the market realizes there is a product behind the scenes, these guys are really building something big, and you understand that they never bet small, that's when the main event is going to happen. And if you see the timing, there wasn't an ideal time to emerge from stealth up until this point. So it wasn't a good market for altcoins. It wasn't good liquidity for altcoins. Ethereum is just like going to enter the price discovery, and that's when the real juicy move happens, the exponential part. So it's a perfect godlike timing if they come out of stealth in the coming, let's say, weeks. I have also one offer for you guys. If you backtrack all the companies which were seeded by Ribbit Capital and they were in stealth launch, almost all of them exited from stealth in October or November. Almost all of them.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, that's really cool. Let's see that. So I know that the stealth launch thing was one of those areas of doubt that people had, right? Like they were like, "What is a stealth launch?" It's not something that you see in crypto that often. But when you search for Ribbit Capital and stealth on Google, you see that they're lead investors of so many companies that went through a stealth period and then emerged from stealth with the investment already in place.
Yeah.
Have you seen any other crypto projects that did do like a stealth period, and what kind of happens after the stealth period finishes?
So first I start with the OG coins. In fact, Bitcoin was a stealth launch as well. that hasn't tweeted for for a decade, and it's the number one asset in crypto. So that was definitely a stealthish launch. Caspa was a stealthish launch. They decided on the algorithm on the exact day of the launch, and Monero was a stealth launch as well. Quant was, I think, a stealthy go-to-market as well. It was a really successful project last cycle, and made really big gains. And Chainlink as well was like this slow cook where you just started to see like, holy shit, all these crypto projects need Chainlink, and it started to like this snowball effect of like having a real use case of like Oracle service connecting the off-chain and on-chain data. It's like there wouldn't be DeFi without Chainlink. So I think what Tibbir is going to be for fintech and crypto and AI is a Chainlink type of play, where it serves as a backbone, as a new layer of these industries, and unlock their true potential. For example, there is ChatGPT. Now they announced that you can communicate with multiple apps with ChatGPT through ChatGPT, and it just takes some time until you can buy things on ChatGPT, I think, and that's going to be on crypto rails. It's not going to be on fiat rails, because that's where AI agents can autonomously transact between each other. You can see. And touching back on the stat mode, Stripe, fourth largest financial or fintech company, $90 billion market cap. They stealth built Tempo with Paradigm, with the guidance of Paradigm. And I think Ribbit Capital is doing the same with potentially Crossmint, like being this guide with all their expertise. They are not the coders. For sure, they are not the coders, but they know what to build, and Crossmint has the tech to connect all these portfolio companies and the token factories, which is something Micky mentioned a lot. And if you pay attention to Ribbit's tweets, its new tweets, it's just listening to Micky and an automated version and his vision, and everything is in alignment. So these token factories are unlocking new use cases of money, and micro NFTs, which turn all the data what we have, the workflow, everything machine readable. Machine readable. This is a sentence you could hear in Raw Post podcast with Micky, and that's how AI agents will move mountains if the playground is there. So they are building the playground based on my research. And one other stat launch was Kita, which had I think they exited stealth at like 3 million market cap and did like a 200x from there with Eric Schmidt's backing and stuff. So you could see that a proper project with backing and real product, when it emerges from stealth, it's not a sell a news event. It's completely the opposite. Like I know for a fact 7-8 figure whales who have not full ported Tibbir yet. They are they are happy to buy higher. So they are like, I'm happy to buy higher, more liquidity, more confirmation, whatever, more market acceptance. And but they are willing to, and they are planning to do that, and that's where you're going to see like 6-figure, 7-figure clips and really crazy numbers, in my opinion. So Kita was the recent more successful stat launches, and there is Tibbir, which is completely next level, or the breadcrumbs, the signals. It was designed with so much thought in it.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about Tibbir. The way it's worked is that I almost feel like someone from Ribbit Capital has been in the Ribbit hole the whole time, kind of seeing what we're talking about. And I almost feel like there's kind of a guidance that's come along, right? Like one of the first pieces of evidence that we got for that was when Tibbir, the Ribbitter, the Twitter account, changed their profile picture and their banner to art that the people in the Ribbit hole had created, like your t-shirt, right? Like that was art that was created by people in the Ribbit hole, and then Ribbitor used that as their profile picture that showed that someone who was managing that account was in the Ribbit hole or aware of what was happening in the Ribbit hole. And I feel like every few months there's some kind of like little breadcrumbs that come along, and it just like telling us that we're on the right track, or telling us that, you know, we're kind of going the right direction, and getting these like nods and winks and like, you know, nudges and kind of very small confirmations, and it keeps everyone so motivated and keeps everyone like going for the next stage. And I think they've done that masterfully, right? Like it's been a very, very smart campaign of releasing information just at the right amount of frequency that people don't get frustrated with the stealth. Because like you said, like earlier, people in the trenches, their dopamine receptors were completely fried. Like they couldn't hold for more than 5 minutes, or like let alone 5 hours. Like no one held a position overnight. You know what I mean? And we, you, me, a whole bunch of people in the Ribbit hole have been holding for like just less than 9 months now. And we're holding a token. We don't know who started it. We don't know who, you know, we know, obviously we know, right? But like, you know, there's no official anything about who started it, what it is, what it's going to do. But we got those confirmations, we got that alpha, and we have stuck with our convictions. And, you know, you said it really well earlier that any of the weak hands have long since fallen away. And it's only like the core holders now is like this hardcore schizo, as you like to call it, schizo like frog cult. And you see frogs everywhere now. Like the Roundpal interview with Micky last week, if you look at the replies on that, it's just frog, 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 all the way down. Like hundreds of us, there's hundreds of us, and that's absolutely amazing. And I think the next step of unstealthing is just going to bring so many more people online. It's just, it's amazing. On the day of unstealth, Konstantin, what do you think is going to happen that day?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But no, I speculate on like, do you remember what happened when Murad was on Token and he laid out the thesis on meme coins and what happened with the SPX chart? So okay, so Micky is a bigger guy than Murad, and no offense, I imagine something like that on the day. That type of SPX ran 11,000% in 30 days. 11,000% in 30 days. Of course, Tibbir is already on higher market cap, but there is a product, and there is something which is going to be FOMO'd by all the VCs, all the liquid funds, everyone like Lea's. They won't spend investor money on something that's unconfirmed, but don't ever think that they are not paying attention. As soon as when there is the green light, I think a mass liquidity influx will happen. It's going to be really good for the base chain. I think it's going to be really good for Virtual's ecosystem as well, and for the entire market. So, because it's a kind of a positive Trump coin effect, where it's basically just lots of new money will come in, and I suspect like this product, the infrastructure they built, you can already see a lot of name dropping on Ribbit's tweets. Those are big fucking names. So those are really, really big names. And you see Visa, Google, and other names which were partnered with Crossmint magically. Recently. And then so Tempo, for example, the stealth layer one for stable coins, backed by Stripe and Paradigm. They announced their first partners, and they're like 7 or 8 Ribbit Capital companies. And then you can see the Google agentic payment, agent-to-agent payment protocol, 60 partners, 10 of them are Ribbit Capital companies. Crossmint is there. So I suspect that we're gonna see a legitimate use case, a new legitimate use case of crypto. And the funniest thing is that I think it's going to be the most successful AI project, which is not AI. I mean, like the bot is AI, the agent is AI, but the core purpose of the bot is the token. I think the fair launch, this way it was compliant. I think the due launching on Virtuos, and then I sense some sort of strategic collaboration between Ribbit Capital and Virtuos, which we have still no more idea, but like the founder of one of the co-founder of Virtuos, like one-on-one quoting Ribbit Capital's mantra in March. That's not by accident. How many VCs have they quoted? Zero. Only Ribbit Capital. So maybe they don't need funds because they made really nice revenue and flywheel in Q4. Maybe they just bring more partners into this ecosystem, because ACP is very early. It's very, very early, agentic commerce, agent to agent marketplace, but it's the foundation of something bigger. It's the foundation of bringing legitimate companies into the ecosystem with real users, real distribution. And that's why Micky's hand should be there, I think, as well, or their Ribbit touch is there. So I expect so many listings, partnerships, and like just the entire market figuring out that this is something new, because they did this already. They did this with Coinbase. Coinbase in 2012, it was like nothing. It was like Brian. He also had an ad tech company before Coinbase. And then he realized that people can't buy Bitcoin, and then that's where Micky invested in Coinbase, and they are like up 1000x or some insane numbers on their Series A investment in Coinbase, and it would just make a lot of sense to have strategic collaborations with Ribbit Capital, Coinbase, and all these companies, and that's what I expect.
So why don't you think that the T1 exchanges have already listed Tibbir? Because the volume is there, the market cap is there. We've seen far smaller tokens get listed. Why haven't they listed it already?
Who's the team behind it? So you cannot list on Binance something that is like basically in stat node. So, but if you check Nansen, but that's just again my speculation, there is a 3.6% total supply wallet that has never sold any single token, only bought. And as far as I know, like Binance listings takes like 4% of the supply distributed to the early Binance users or Binance users, alpha users, and the rest, the other companies are Ribbit Capital portfolio companies. If you check Binance, they listed Virtual they were the first tier 1 exchange. They listed AIXBT, the first large AI agent, which is now flipped by Tibbir in market cap. And the obvious next step is listing Tibbir. There is also interesting connections between Grayscale and how Grayscale is like announced that the Virtuals ecosystem is on the radar. And of course, they don't mention Tibbir, the largest AI agent, because it's in stat mode. So I think it's a big collaboration. I genuinely would like to. Convince Twitter in a way that this is a net positive thing. So all this stat launch is for us, not against us. It's for real players. It's for real chats to like change their life, be early investors in something new. And Tibbir could have launched in a normal VC way at like 1 bill FDV. It could like really go high above that, of course. But Micky chose this fair launch, and I respect him a lot for that.
Excellent. I have a theory of what happens on day one out of stealth. So the first thing, obviously, is that Ribbit Capital will say, this is our token, and this is our plan for the token, right? Like they'll have some kind of project protocol that will come out of it, how the token will be used. I don't know if it'll be a project that's working on day one, but definitely we'll have a roadmap of something with partnerships that will be announced from Ribbit Capital. The second thing is that all these people who we know, but are under NDA, the NDAs will be lifted, So they'll be able to start talking about Ribbit Capital. So this is like the virtuals team, for example. Tibbir is the biggest token in the virtuals protocol, but they have never once mentioned the biggest token on the protocol, and the one that is only going up, even though the rest of the bear market and like all the other tokens are down massively. They've never mentioned it once. So it's like, obviously there's an NDA there, the token that must not be named. And that's not the only one, right? Like, people from Crossmint, it looks like they're not mentioning it, even though they've been posting frog emojis and like liking, Ribbit Hole members' posts and stuff. So there's definitely some strong evidence, I think, of NDAs being signed, or at least people not talking. Like Raoul Pal, for example, on the interview with Micky last week, said, "I don't believe you for a second," but we know that Raoul Pal was one of the first smart followers of Tibbir. He was following Tibbir within 1 week. He was following Ribbiter within 1 week of launch. So he's been there from the very beginning of probably sharing ideas with Micky, or kind of consulting, or, just giving his expertise about crypto protocols and projects and tokens. So there's a lot of evidence there that a lot of big people have NDAs, and that will be lifted on the day one of unstealthing. So all of those people will be talking about Ribbit Capital and Tibbir and the token. And then the third thing is that all these like exchanges that haven't yet listed Tibbir, I think that they probably have some kind of deal with Ribbit Capital as well. Like Coinbase and Revolut, I guess they list some tokens, I'm not sure, but Robinhood, of course. Yeah, with those especially, their portfolio companies, it could make sense that Micky would call them and say, "Hey guys, look, I know that Tibbir meets the criteria of your token being on your exchange. It's got mind share, it's got volume, it's got market cap, but don't list it yet." And the reason why is because we want people to know what they're getting, or whatever the reason might be. Like we want all of it to happen at the same kind of time. I think that could make sense. And because Coinbase and Robinhood haven't mentioned it, haven't listed it, then Binance might not list it as well, and all that kind of stuff. So I think those three things will happen at the same time. You're absolutely right when you say that it'll be like a Trump coin kind of like market share liquidity pull, where all these people will be mentioning it, all the exchanges will be listing it, so everyone will be rushing to buy it. That's really exciting to me, because I think that I don't think it'll be up to the level of the Trump coin. Like, it's not going to go to $72 billion. I'm pretty sure it won't do that. But like, I think it's going to be like the biggest event of this period. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, it's going to be really awesome.
One final take is there is a guy called Credible Crypto on Twitter. I really respect him for putting in so much work and educational content for 7 years straight, like not skipping bear markets or anything. He was just constantly sharing his thesis about the macro moves and 95% accuracy. He believes that the last true alt season was in 2017, and due to the fact that that was the last time when Bitcoin had a true blow off top. And now where I think we are headed in this cycle is we are in the winner's curse phase of the macro bull run, and that's where you see everything at all-time highs, and we are still cutting rates. So things are going to get really crazy in crypto land. You can see the rise of the tech stocks already, but there's going to be clearly a rotation of money as every single time until human psychology changes. There will be always this risk curve, and people will take more risk after they make some juicy gains. So the rotation from tech stocks to crypto and legitimate altcoins, legitimate projects will happen in my playbook. And I also see a high probability for a blow off top this time, like closing this grand cycle of Bitcoin, and the alt season after that is going to be something we will remember forever. With that said, it's important which coins you hold. It's important to make concentrated bets, and I think that's where you can use most of your opportunity here, and just build your conviction and like go hard on one or two things, and then ride the wave.
Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of audience questions. But before we do that, so like people get your questions in the chat like right now, and I'm going to ask Konstantin a few of them like quickly. Before that, Konstantin, What do you think is going to happen to the Ribbit hole once the project comes out of stealth? Do you think the community will get stronger? Do you think the community will get weaker? Like, how do you think that will play out?
Wow, that's a really, really great question. And that's the beautiful part of this. I think the core members will stay connected, even in bear market. And we also have plans to like come here to Bali and like have a big meetup and just have fun, celebrate this journey. So I know for a fact that at least 50 people made 7 figures already on Tibbir and more made, again, life-changing gains. I get so many DMs like, bro, thank you so much for the call. I paid off my mortgage, and like crazy shit, like really crazy things. And then it's still early. So I think the core holders of Tibbir will be ultra wealthy if they continue to do what they've done so far. And with that said, they are good people, and they are people. I talk to a lot of them. I talk to them daily, and then most of them won't really want to buy a Lamborghini or whatever. Everyone is free to do. I have no problem with Lamborghinis or whatever, but most of them just want to secure their future, take care of their families, maybe leave the soul-sucking corporate 9-to-5 they are in for cash flow. And I think that's the main thing why people enter crypto. They want to change their life. They see this asymmetry, this exponential growth, and if you work hard and stick to your conviction, you can actually do that. And that's why I'm rooting for everyone to fulfill their dreams with Tibbir, and like getting rewarded for their conviction and skills and efforts they put in, and do something useful with their money in the next 5 years or 10 years.
That's amazing. Okay, so what do you think? This T-shirt that you're wearing, where did you get it from? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was a last minute idea. We did a few ones before token. So I actually wear it now backwards, like Ribbit Tibbir backwards. So it has a Altcoinist logo on the front, which is on the back. So it's backwards again. Yeah, why not? We could create merchandise or whatever later on. I'm just really focused on a lot of things. We are also cooking with Altcoinist a few big things, which I'm really excited about, and that's now, I think, the highest ROI is just like putting as much value as we can on Twitter, building our product ecosystem, and then change lives together, and that's it.
Nice. And I've got my little frog right here as well. So
yeah, I've seen it.
We're all in the frog family together. So
the Amazon artwork.
Yeah, the Amazon artwork FUD. Remember, that was a great day. And there's a nice question here from Cray saying that listen, we were all part of the trenches, especially the early communities, right? Like, how should we balance, like, our real lives, like our relationship with our families and our friends, against this idea that we're in a crypto bull market now, and if you're trenching, then you can make it, and like the retire bloodline. Like, where do we find the balance in that?
Yeah, a very good question. I think to do extraordinary things and to achieve extraordinary things in life, there is no balance. So there are times when you have to outwork everyone. We with Chris worked 80 hours a week last year, every single week, and I'm proud of that. We almost burned out at the end, but it was worth it. And I think the core idea of trenches, and that's really interesting to look back, is an evolution of trading crypto. So first you had you had to buy Bitcoin on forums, and then from miners, and then the first few exchanges arose, and like Coinbase, and then slowly we shifted from centralized exchange trading to decentralized exchange trading, and then my battery is not going to die. So we are clearly shifting in how we trade, and now came basically the social trading, where people stick together to outperform the market. And that was the best example was Sailboat Cabal, who were continuously spot on with their picks and front running the market as a team. And that's something we really love to see with Chris and Mate and the other team members. And then now we are building something that actually helps you your sleep cycle, because what if ranching could be automated? So what if it could be fully autonomous, finding of a data layer, signal layer, automated strategies, take profit strategies, and then end vision is like implementing machine learning, where you can learn about the user behavior, the market behavior, and personalize strategies. That's the future. What Brian Armstrong said, one of the things he's most excited about, like telling an agent, like, just go and make me money. Here is $1,000, and then that's our vision. That's what we're trying to execute on. And when it comes to trenches, it's the fastest way to build a core portfolio, I think. So that's the fastest way, if you do it properly, to go from 0 to 1. However, at some point, to go and to evolve from that state, from that, let's say, number, what you achieve for your portfolio, you gotta need high conviction bet. And that's why Tibbir is a really good example for that. We could outperform the market with one single coin, and it rewards the right bet rewards a lot, and you can sleep peacefully. So I think all the Ribbit Capital members are sleeping very, very, very well.
Yeah, with the trenching automation, tell me how the alt token fits in with that. Like, what role does that play?
Yeah. So we launched our token, just have it out there, and then we figured out the real product we want to build, and inspired by this portfolio idea of Ribbit Capital as well, like building an alliance of multiple projects and bringing the best tools together to a seamless experience. ALTT is going to have 50% revenue share from all the revenue that product does. We also have a DTF, deployed on reserve, where Tibbir is the rank 1 weight, and that's basically an on-chain ETF, and giving you exposure to multiple coins with one ticker. That's where ALTT fits in as well, like 100% revenue share from the index fund. It's early again, so like what Reserve built is very early, but I see the potential, and we are long-term players. So at Altcoinist, we think long-term. We already planned the next 4-year roadmap. So it's like not finish the bull run and be gone. We love what we do. We are happy to grow slowly, but organically, and then every single time we try to rush something, it was just a bad decision. So now we just take our time, build the right things, work with the right people, and at some point we realize this make me money vision.
Nice. Okay, we had a couple of questions about the NFT that Ribbit gave to Tibbir holders. Do you really think it's commemorative? And what do you think happens with that token once the project comes out of stealth?
If I were Micky, I would definitely do something fun with it. So I personally would reward those people. That's just what I would do. Because I played World of Warcraft for 10 years, and I loved everything about that. I stopped playing it because it was like playing, like doing heroin in gaming. Like that was the metaverse for me. And I didn't go to private school to learn English. You can hear that, but I just learned it on playing World of Warcraft. And MMORPG has a lot of common thing in crypto, and probably really good founders came from World of Warcraft as well, like Vitalik, when his Warlock was nerfed, and then he was like, okay, fuck it, let's create smart contract platform. So all in all, there were Soulbund items, and it was really good to hold them. It forged your identity, and I think. Building an identity platform, it's no better way to have like an early lore, and lore is something Micky really appreciates and embraces, and then just let those guys cook. So I'm happy, whatever. If it's just a commemorative NFT, I think even that is going to be a big flex in the next 5 years.
My theory is that we will, as NFT holders, we will get a share of Ribbit's Punk will be tokenized, and we'll all get a share of that. And then, like, obviously, not everyone will sell it, right? Like, we'll just hold, like, we'll get a share of that.
It could be more crazy. So, like, Micky mentioned how equity will be tokenized. What if Tibbir is the tokenized version of Ribbit Capital, the token itself? And so there are so many things. And then I think there is the Clarity Bill as well upcoming, which is a big thing after Genius Act was passed. And I think after that, we're going to see this really massive rally and innovation. I don't want to stamp the timeline of this because no one knows, no one has a crystal ball, but I think we are on the right side of the track, and fuck the bears.
Fuck the bears, always fuck the bears. A couple of people are mentioning unstealthing dates in the questions. However, like you just said like a minute ago, let Micky cook. So I'm not going to give you a platform for speculating on when stealthing will end. No, I don't want you to. I don't want you to.
No. I just want to ask questions.
Go.
Ask questions. Like, what was the intent of Micky when he changed his profile picture at the very beginning of the project? What was his intent? His intent was probably
from him
help people to give a sign. What was his intent when he changed his cover photo after the CryptoPunk acquisition of or buy of the Ribbit agent? What was the intent with that? And then I leave it there because that's the right question to ask. Sometimes the right question is more important than the answer, and there is a clear intent there to show some signs. I think it's not by accident. Every single time people thought something is by accident regarding Tibbir or Ribbit Capital or Micky Malka, they were wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Okay, so let's people like go and think about that themselves, I guess, and come up to their own conclusions. One thing for you, Konstantin, personally, right? Like, you have been in the Ribbit hole from day one. You made the Ribbit hole. I've been in there since day one. In that time, many people, nearly almost everyone in the Ribbit hole had never heard of Micky Malka before, had never heard of Ribbit Capital before. Now I feel like we know more about the company than probably like Micky's
themselves.
So in the last 9 months of research that you've done, how has learning about Ribbit Capital changed your life, and what lessons have you learned from
that? Thinking in ecosystems rather than individual projects, how you can multiply effect of like different teams working together. That gave me a huge inspiration. Finding the same values I have by researching Micky's. I'm no one compared to him, and I'm definitely not his son, because there was some schizo speculation like, oh, bro, he's Micky's son. No, like finding that conviction can last long, and then like this non-extractive, value-first approach, fundamental research, all these things I think shaped. We actually became better founders ourselves by learning on how they done so things, and they confirmed stuff we felt in our gut that is the right thing. They confirmed that it's okay to do things slower, but with the right people. So I think that was the highest impact value I got from researching these people.
Okay, is there anything that you want to talk about? I've got one last question, but is there anything we didn't miss? Okay, so
I love you all.
Yeah,
I love you all.
Seriously, like the Ribbit hole has been so much fun to be part of that for the last 9 months. Like you, I was one of the very first people who joined, because we were some of the first people like hashtag Tibbir on Twitter, right? Like I got in at $200,000 market cap. I was like one of the first 10 or 15 people to buy the tokens. Right. I had no idea what I was holding at the time, obviously. Otherwise, I would have bought so much more, so much earlier. But that's just how it works. But let's finish with one last question, right? Like there's this little autonomous agent on X, this Ribbitor. Like, what is this Ribbitor thing on X?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't believe you for a second.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for taking part. Altcoin, like, amazing job over the last 9 months. You've like literally carried this community, Constantine, you and your team, and everything that you guys are doing with the trenches and like making trading easier for people. It's all going to be so great. So thank you so much for sharing this time. I think we should do this again, maybe, you know, in the next few weeks.
After yeah.
One day soon, yeah, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.